Welcome to Across the Park podcast, the only place you can hear banter and debate from both sides of Stanley Park, whether it be blue or red. Sponsored by Their Clothing and Camper Kings UK.
Hi, I'm Stephen Warnock, and you're watching the Across the Park podcast.
Thank you very much, Mr. Stephen Warnock. Welcome back to Across the Park podcast. This is our second show of the week, and this is Game On. So, as usual, we've got our trivia section of the show. We've got a week in history. What's the trivia this week, Phil? Our usual quiz host.
Who am I this week?
Who am I this week? We had Darren, one of our one of our most loyal followers, viewers on YouTube, who actually requested. And he asked, is Phil going to be the host this week? Can't wait for it. So nice one, Darren, mate. Appreciate your messages as always. And Phil is raring to go. We've also got a little feature in one of our games. As we've mentioned a few times, we've got an affiliate, which is Betmate, that provides us a bit of a platform to play our fantasy football game, which we had from the inception of the podcast. So thanks again to Betmate. Check them out if you enjoy playing fantasy football. Now, on that note, we have had a few messages. We do read all of our messages on YouTube. We do reply to most of them. I put a really substantial reply together to one of our concerned listeners or viewers, I should say, who was concerned about our affiliation with what is a betting app. We take it very seriously, which people we involve in the podcast, whether it's a sponsor, whether in this case it's an affiliate. We've met the lads at Betmate, and we feel they got the right morals and values. They're also committed to responsible gambling. From my perspective, I pay £3. I play our game every week. As I said in our last show, I was fortunate enough to win, which is great. But we know, and everyone should know, that in gambling, you're not always going to win. The idea behind Betmate is that one of the players or several of the players will always win. And again, to be upfront with their concept, they take 10% of the cut, and that's it. But again, to be clear, we're not saying that you need to play. You don't need to play. You don't need to gamble. That's not what we're about. Enjoy our shows. Hopefully you do, and that's why you're watching. But to be clear, we enjoy playing our game on Betmate, our fantasy football game, and we will show you what our team is for this week. But again, just to put a bit of a serious message at the start, we are promoting responsible gambling if you ever do gamble, and we're also saying that we don't. It doesn't mean that to follow us you need to play on Betmate. Anyone want to add into that, lads?
Yeah, for me, I'm not a big gambler whatsoever. I don't really bet that much. But for this, it's as Judgy said there, for our game alone, it'll only ever be £3 to join. It'll never ever be more than that. We've spoke to the lads and we've said that we're committed to it only ever being £3. So, for me, I enjoy playing the fantasy Premier League like most people do online. And this is just a small feature that you can do weekly, which will only ever cost you £3 to play our game. So if that is a bit too much, if you don't want to play, if you don't want to gamble, that's fine. You don't have to, as Judgy said. You can just follow our podcast and not get involved in that side of it. It'll just be a small section of this game on each week, and then we'll move on to our other games, the week in history, the Who Am I, and the higher or lowers that we do each week. So yeah, it's just another feature that we're trying out, and we'll take it from there.
No, I think from my point of view as well, I mean, we've seen the comments that some clubs have with betting sponsors and things, and we're nowhere near going down that route. Like Gary and Judge, you've just said there, it's £3 to play. It's optional. We're not pushing it on anybody. It's a little bit of fun. It's never going to be on a couple of quid or £3 a week to get involved in basically fantasy football. We are not asking anybody at all to gamble. If you don't want to gamble and you want to get behind Judgy or Gary or mine or Phil's team and have a little bit of fun with your friends at home, that's all it is. By all means, if you want to put £3 into the pot and have a little bit of fun as well, and that's as far as it's ever going to go. We do not encourage anybody gambling big. We're not someone who's going to have Bet365 adverts on the podcast. We're very careful, like Judge said, and who we meet and who we talk to. We are really protective of what we do in the podcast. So it's not going to go beyond anything which is fun for us. It's always going to be fun.
Okay, well, sorry, but again, that was like a 5-minute broadcast on. But look, we felt it was necessary. We have had a few messages, and like I say, we value all of our listeners and viewers, and we certainly value their views. So without further ado, I'm going to show you my team for this week. Like Gary said before, if you play fancy football online, this might be like some tips on changing players in the team. So I'm going to show you my options or my selections for Betmate this week for the fancy football. I would like to say, and I've said it on the previous show, I won our game last week, which is mad. We've only been doing it 2 weeks. And this is a gesture, this is something I'm committed to. If I ever win, and I can't speak for the other lads, if I ever win, my money's going to charity. So if anyone's got any charities out there they've got in mind, I've got £30 there for someone to send that on. Because the last thing I want is have money sitting in there that, sorry lads, that I'm going to end up giving back to Betmate or giving it to one of these to win instead. So I'll show you my team now. So I've gone for, as we said, it can only be players that are playing in the Everton-Liverpool games this week. So my choices were obviously Everton players, Villa players, Palace players, or Liverpool players. I'm always going to make sure I've got more Everton players in the team than Liverpool for me. So I won last week by doing that, strangely enough. I've gone for Pickford in goal. I think it's going to be a tight game at Palace. I predicted 1-1, but it may easily be 1-0 to the Blues or 1-1. I've gone for Matty Cash and Trent at the back. I think those lads will be, in with a chance of an assist. I know Matty Cash likes to get forward. We all know that Trent does as well. Because of the way the Betmate do it on Fantasy Footy, they reward you for interceptions and tackles. So I've gone for 2 players in the middle that are going to get involved in tackles and interceptions. I've also gone for Gallagher as my captain, because I think for Palace he'll be all over the place, flying into tackles, as will Allen. So hopefully I'll get some extra points for that. Up top, I've gone for Mo Salah and Richarlison. I don't think that needs any explaining.
Yeah, for obvious reasons.
Yeah, well, for obvious reasons on Salah, and then hopefully Richarlison continues his vein of form. Good thing about it as well with them, up until 5 minutes before kickoff, you can change your selection. So if the team news comes out and there's a few unexpected names on the team sheet or whatever, you can change it. So I've threw in like Ollie Watkins on the bench, just in case maybe Richarlison gets a knock, or I can throw Decore in for Allen, and I've got Konza in who can maybe throw in as well. And they automatically swap the players if anyone's obviously injured, which I think these do that in Fantasy Footy. Okay, so they're my selections for this week. Best of luck for anyone's playing, but as we said before, if you're not, then just enjoy the footy as always. So we're going to move on to our first and regular feature, which is Who Am I, Phil? So explain the rules to anyone who hasn't played before or listened along.
Yeah, it's a simple game. I'm going to give the Blues an Everton player from the past or present and give 5 clues. And the Blues have got to try and guess before the end. But you can put your hands up, don't shout out, because the listeners at home are also playing the same game. And obviously the same for the Reds. Okay,
so isn't it? It's probably tricky because
it's an awkward one, yeah, because how do you know you know?
yeah, you want to shout out. I mean, I done it the other week thinking it was Maserati and it was Decore all along, but go on, Phil, off you go.
All right then, yeah. We'll start with a boy. So this player has played in every age group for England. So that's the first clue. Any ideas?
Quite a few. We had a lot of players who come right the way through the ranks, didn't we? Who played at every age group. There's one player that sticks out for me at the moment.
Yes.
Go on.
Okay, he's had 9 loan spells in his career, this player.
Again, that doesn't dispel my... I think this player's probably had close... 9's a lot, isn't
it? If you're thinking who I'm thinking, it's not. No, I think he maybe has 3 or 4, but I don't think it was as high as 9.
2 or 3, yeah.
Okay, then. This player was once charged by the FA for betting offences and had to pull out of the under-21 championships, Euro championships.
It's easiest link there from Roberts.
It wasn't responsible.
Yeah, it was irresponsible gambling. Wow. Okay.
All right, then. So this player has also played in the top 3 tiers of the English football leagues.
Wow.
All right, I think, just to talk out loud, judging with you, I don't think he's played for the England national team whilst he's at Everton.
Okay.
I think this player has played for Everton whilst also being... I don't think it's Paul Gascoigne, but I think you're looking at someone of a level of maybe someone who's not quite played for England whilst we've had him. That's just me thinking out loud.
Okay. I'm completely flummoxed now. Go on.
Okay, lads. The final clue. This player is still playing in the Premier League.
Okay. Like,
Awesome.
you've got to give us a minute here to get this. Play for England at every level.
All right. Well, now that we've had all the clues, my initial thing was Ross Barkley.
No,
that was my initial.
Too many loans. Too many loans.
That's what I mean. That the clue number 2, knocked that for 6. So I knew it wasn't Ross Barkley after that one.
Do you know what? I'm going to go back on myself here. I think this is a bit of a wild card, and I don't know. I think maybe it's like an Andros Townsend or something now.
Is that an official guess?
If Judgy wants to go with that, or he's got something different, but I'm just thinking again out loud. I think it might be something like that.
Very decent. Because so his loan spell, he would have definitely played for someone, in League One, for example. And we know he played in the Championship for Newcastle. We know he's obviously certainly played for England's first team, and will definitely, as a younger player, have played for some of those younger groups. Yeah, I think it's worth a stab. Yeah.
Well worked out, Blues. It was indeed Andros Townsend.
Well done, Mills. Good quality, that.
No pressure, Gary.
It goes on that, Phil. I like that.
Yeah, nice. Okay then, Gary, this player is 4th on the all-time Premier League appearances list.
Wow.
I think I know who it is already.
It's not who I think you think it is.
What do you think that I think it is?
I'll tell you at the end. So this player's won a League Cup and an FA Cup.
And is that it? Nothing else? Just them two?
As far, yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Okay.
Definitely. Yeah.
You're not even sure yourself there.
There goes Carragher, Judgy.
Don't know. There goes James Milner.
Oh, is that what you're thinking?
Yeah.
Okay, 3rd clue. He ended his career playing for Kerala Blasters in Malaysia.
Kerala. It's not Malaysia. It's India.
I thought it was India.
Kerala's in India. Yeah.
We thought that was India. Yeah, but okay.
I know it is.
No clue whatsoever.
Also the manager of Kerala Blasters.
Yes.
He was manager.
Come on, you blue boys.
Is it your favourite ever player?
No, it's not.
No.
Okay, no. Gary. In 2008, he was inducted into the Watford Hall of Fame.
Watford Hall of Fame.
By the way, Gary, Terry Phelan was his manager, and then when Terry Phelan left, he took over.
Okay, Gary, you might get it with this one because I think everyone knows this. Famously blamed playing too many video games on his on-the-pitch errors.
Nah, doesn't ring a bell to me, that.
Before Gary's time, I think, slightly. Can I get the answer?
Go on.
David James.
Judgy's coaching link there.
Yeah, Kerala Blasters in the I-League. Terry Phelan was the manager. Chris Dagnall was also playing for them at the time as well. Same time as David James, and who else? Oh no, tell you what, it wasn't. It was another goalkeeper. I hope he's not watching here. Do
you know what? I always thought David James had everything it took to be one of the best keepers who's ever lived. Might sound mad, but the only thing is, he'd just do crazy stuff every now and again, wouldn't he? Like proper.
I can't believe he's 4th on the Premier League most appearance list.
Oh yeah, done the rounds there.
I don't think he was that good. David James. I thought he was just a calamity. I thought he was always making mistakes all the time, even for England.
That's the thing, but take the mistakes out. That man was capable of things no other keeper I've ever seen is, to be honest. Just the pure.
I was thinking of
the athleticism of the man, just the way.
Yeah, I think his best spell ends up being Portsmouth. Towards the end when he just kind of got his head together a little bit, and after Harry Redknapp and that, I thought he became a top keeper then.
Yeah,
as a young keeper, it was a bit too early for him, wasn't it?
Yeah.
There was no way I was getting that off them clues.
Another good one, that. And if I wouldn't have known about Kerala Blasters, I wouldn't have got it.
If I would have said he was to blame for the cream suits, 96.
Yeah, I'd have got that.
I knew that was too easy. Go on.
Yeah. So this week in history, then we'll start with the Blues Mills because I know exactly what ours is. It's not exactly to this week in history. I know you said this when you brought it up. It was a few weeks ago, but it also clashed with Derby week, so it wasn't something that we particularly wanted to be talking about in the preview to a Merseyside derby. And it was, as you said a number of times, it was time, and it was time for Big Sam Allardyce.
It was Allardyce time, wasn't it? I think end of November in 2017. So we've just missed the cut-off. But like Judgy said there, we were covering an awful lot with the derby previews last week, so we didn't do a game on episode. But yeah, Judgy, I think we sacked Ronald Koeman, which we've covered on This Week in History on Game On before in October. I think, just looking back, and I could be wrong, I think a lot of us thought that David Unsworth would at least get the season. That there was high hopes at the time in 2017 for David Unsworth. Very, very quickly went so south that the call was made to Big Sam. And we've put, it's funny, we've seen articles on Twitter this week, haven't we? Thomas Tuchel back in 2017 was coming out publicly saying that he would be interested in speaking to Everton. We were linked with Marco Silva whilst he was still at Watford. We were linked with a number of managers, and it just became apparent that we were, in my opinion, and people might disagree, you might disagree, by the time he got in, by the time that call was made, we were desperately in need for Sam Allardyce at the time.
I'll never think that. And it, you know, he walked through the door, and a lot of people remember this. Rooney scored the hat-trick against West Ham. It was David Unsworth's last game in charge. Scored from the halfway line at one of them.
Yeah.
And that victory lifted us up to 11th or 10th or something. So actually, when he took over, we were in 10th place. I think we ended up finishing 8th. Listen, he done a job of steadying the ship, and you know, it was an appointment. You know, there's been a lot of criticism of Mashiri in recent weeks, months, or whatever it may be. He took what was decisive action at that time to make sure there was no chance of rubber going down, and that move certainly cemented that, but it also made for what was an absolutely dreadful few months of viewing. The worst of which was Arsenal away, being 3-0 down after about 10 minutes. Mangala looking like the worst player I've ever seen put on a pair of boots for Everton.
I think that game, I think on the left-hand side, we had Mangala left centre-half, Kuko Martina left-back, and Yannick Bolasie was on the left wing, and Umar Nias was up front. So look, I'm not delusional. I think that period from November to May was a really bad period, and I was one of those fans come May that when Allardyce was dismissed, I was really happy because I think we just started the podcast in that season, that pre-season as well. We were quite excited by Marco Silva coming in and hopefully playing a more expansive attacking way. But I can't get away from the fact that in that November, I think we were staring, and yet David Unsworth, did had a great result against West Ham, and he had a great result a few weeks earlier against Watford. I don't think if David Unsworth was given that role till the end of the season, we'd have got as many points as Allardyce did. I really don't.
Can I just interrupt 1 sec? Is this recording?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh.
This is a recording.
I've got a thing on the bottom saying record still.
No.
Panic there, thinking we'd done all this and not recorded it.
No, it's definitely recording, Gary. I thought that was some kind of joke then that I didn't pick up on.
No.
I thought he was trying to just stitch us up to get me and you on the record of pro Allardyce.
Definitely recording it, yeah.
Didn't Allardyce finish 8th?
Look, the football was bad. Look, the football was bad under Allardyce, but I don't think any Evertonian thought when Allardyce came in November that it was going to be anything other than stay up.
Yeah,
that was where we were.
He did finish 8th, but with one of the lowest points totals that we'd had in the Premier League, despite the fact we finished 8th. It's one of them seasons, you know, where like the top teams kind of ran away with it, and everyone else was just crawling along.
So what's your? I think now, even now, it's still quite divisive, isn't it? Like fans look back and go, even now that it's a topic, and you have a pint in the pub and you talk football, and you'll go back to those days and you'll say he was needed, he wasn't needed. What's your lasting memory then of that Sam Allardyce 6-7 months? Because for me, I can't get around the fact that, like, I don't want to repeat myself. I think it was time. I think Everton needed Allardyce. I really do at that time.
I don't think it was quite that bad. And I still look back at, there was a lot of poor signings made, but let's look at the 2 signings he made, and that was Theo Walcott and Cenk Tosun for a combined fee of 40 odd million. That's when a big. Imagine Benitez having 40 odd million now to spend in January that we didn't spend on them. Those 2 players didn't keep us in the Premier League that year. When they come in, I think we were 9th or something like that. We finished 8th. Cenk Tosun probably got 3 or 4 goals. I think he scored the 1 goal he scored, which was a necessary, got us a win, was a 2-0 at Huddersfield. I think he scored the first goal in that game.
I think he got a couple. I think we beat Stoke. We beat Stoke in the snow or something. And I think he scored the winner at Stoke as well. I still don't think Cenk Tosun was a good sign. I don't think Theo Walcott was a good signing. But I would argue a little bit that second half of the season, I thought they were semi-important to us.
My last memory of Allardyce for you was the Newcastle fans singing to you, "It's just another day for you," with Sammy Lee and Allardyce.
Yeah, and do you know what hurt him? What hurt him was bringing Sammy Lee in. That was what, because some fans, I remember going back, and some fans were a little bit like me, saying, "Let's get him in and let's see what he can do." And then fucking Sammy Lee rocks up with the Everton crest on, and it just looked like what he used to, turning up on his podcast with an Everton crest. It just didn't go at all.
Yeah,
and now you've got Rafa.
I mean, was it nil? It was 0-0 at Anfield, wasn't it? And he was like proper made up, wasn't he?
Yeah, he said it was the
one where. Yeah, it was the one where Jason Lovren absolutely assaulted Calvert-Lewin.
Oh yeah, it was. What was it was the season before where wasn't that where Sigurdsson scored in the cup?
No, that was the cup. That was the cup game. So yeah. We drew 1-1 in the league, and then we drew 0-0 at Goodison. And he came out and said, if that was a Champions League game, a tie would have gone through on away goals.
He wasn't wrong.
Yeah,
he wasn't wrong. No, and then he was pushed out, and I think it's not an era that you'd ever sell DVDs on the back of it. You'd never sell posters on the back of it. But I just think I remember how bad we were in November 17. I remember it was getting worse and worse. I remember Atalanta on a Thursday night beating us 5-1. Southampton beating us 4-1 on a Sunday, and David Unsworth was on Sky Sports after it, basically saying to the board, "Give someone this job because I no longer want it. I no longer want this job." And I think that the likes of Tuchel and the stupid rumours like Mourinho and stuff at the time, it was never happening at that point, and it was going to be Marco Silva or it was going to be Sam Allardyce, and Watford wouldn't let Marco Silva go at the time. I remember that was a bit of I think they sued us over that. I think they put a lawsuit in over us tapping him up, and it was time. It was time for Sammy Lee, and it was time for Sam Allardyce. And if I saw Sam Allardyce, if I was on holiday or I seen Sam Allardyce somewhere, I'd shake his hand and I'd say thank you very much. I think he'd done exactly what we wanted him to do in November 17, and it was guide us away from where we were. And I didn't expect any more than 8th, and that's that's where we went.
I don't hate him. I just hated us when we had him.
You're going to get a nasty message off Neil McGill now, Mills.
Oh, mate, these comments. These comments. Listen, my Twitter is @IanATP. Don't tweet @AcrossTheParkBC. Just tweet me. But I'll stand by it. Look, I think it was something that was needed. It was just a stopgap. It made sure we stayed in the Premier League at the time. In a period now, we look back, and me and Judge have spoke about this, where we haven't got the investment now. The FFP is hindering us. Back then, we did have the investment. We got through to 2018, and we bought Yerry Mina, Richarlison, Luca Dean by staying in the Premier League.
Yeah, that's fair. Okay, so Reds, I feel like switching off here because I know what this is.
Well, normally I'd want to keep on the Allardyce subject because I love it more than most things, but this subject's even sweeter.
Well, Sunday, the 2nd of December, 2018, which is within 7 days of recording today, it's the 8th today, so the last day we could use it. 96 minutes into the derby at Anfield.
Did you say this is the last day you can ever use this?
We could have used it for a week in history, he means.
This recording.
But in the 96th minute, we get a free kick in our own half. Alisson knocks it forward to Trent. Trent launches it into the box. Van Dijk takes a swipe at it.
No, Yerry Mina heads it away first.
Oh, yeah, Yerry Mina heads it away. Van Dijk takes a volley, goes into the sky, comes down, hits the bar. T-Rex arms has a go, misses the ball completely. Divock Origi at the back stick, 1-0 to Liverpool. And Klopp went absolutely berserk, ran onto the pitch. Remember, Gary?
Well, funny story about that. I was in Berlin at the time with my missus, missed the game, took off to come home at the time of the kickoff. So didn't know anything about the match whatsoever. Got home, said to her, my mum picked us up from the airport, so said to them, don't tell me anything. I've got it recorded on the TiVo, getting in, starting it from the beginning, not finding anything out. So I've done that. Get into ours, didn't find out anything. Watching the match from start to finish. Get to about the 85th minute, something like that. But bear in mind, my missus never watches the match with me, ever. Now, she sat there for the entire game. And then 85 minutes, Everton starts attacking. And she went upstairs. And I was like, you're going, because you know these stories, don't you? I was fuming. So I started fast forwarding it, because I didn't want to see you score. And then next minute, I could see Klopp in the middle of the pitch, jumping up and down with Alisson, and missed the goal. I had to rewind it and rewatch it.
Crap that. No, but it's an apt week to bring it up in a week where Origi scores against Milan and previously as well against Wolves.
How's this still happening? How is Origi still scoring goals for you 3 years on?
My question is, how's Phil still forgetting who they played last weekend?
But yeah,
because the man's a goal machine. He doesn't get many minutes, but his minutes to goals ratio is class, and the importance of his goals is class.
Yeah,
so my last memory from that derby was to keep my mouth shut, because we done a podcast right after it, and I remember, and some of the Reds still give me stick. I said to you on that podcast, it can never get any worse than that, unless my ex runs on the pitch and scores the winner. Because that's never happened in a game of football, ever. A goalkeeper doesn't do that. And it happens. Since then, we've got beat 5-2. We've had the Rugrats beat us 1-0 in the FA Cup against our first team. And now we've got Rafa Benitez, managers, while you sing his name at Goodison Park. I'm keeping my mouth shut going forward on this podcast.
Where can it go from here?
I'm sure we'll find out next season.
Yeah, I'm sure there'll be something.
Gary, can I just ask you, you've got the Barcelona goal, you've got the Champions League final goal, and you've got the Everton goal, really, probably the top three for Origi. Which one ranks number one for you?
Oh, I'm probably going Barcelona.
Yeah.
I just think that from what that game was and where we came from to win it, what it meant, because there's goal in the final, although it sealed it.
Yeah,
I couldn't really see Spurs scoring.
Yeah,
so
doing everything in the game, really.
No, so I don't think we'd have ever conceded there, and we wouldn't have won the game. So I think the Barcelona one, the importance of that is just it got us going, didn't it? And yeah,
corner taken quickly.
Get that statue made, like Robertson said.
Okay, that's it for this week in history.
Well, yeah, and that is it for this week's game on. Thanks everyone for listening. I'm hoping, Millsy, you best plug something a little bit better out from the next week.
Do you know what I have got something better, and if you're up for it, we are going to talk about our hero in Howard Kendall's watch.
Love it, fantastic. Look forward to that, okay? And hopefully you guys are looking forward to it too. Thanks again for watching our second show of the week. Looking forward to this week's action, and we'll catch you again on next week's show. Cheers, take care.